Welcome to the Jimbo Knows show. Today is June the 18th. I'm Jimbo Banks. Today I got Harry Zell and Charlie Maverick with me.
Howdy.
Ew.
So today we're going to discuss the recap of the Spurs and the Heat game, the series, how it went and how everybody liked it and everything. We all know Harry Zell is a big Spurs fan.
Spurs for life, baby.
Me and Charlie just wanted the East to win, so Dwayne Wade to get another championship.
I like how you were about to say LeBron James and you backed out of that real quick.
So you caught on to that too, huh?
Yeah, I did. It's all right.
So Harry, we want to start with you. How did you like the whole series?
Oh, I love the series. It's like when you're playing the game online and your opponent just quits when you're beating them down. That's kind of what I felt like.
Now, was that you playing the game and beating somebody down, or was it just a random pitch you picked up?
No. It's like when Marvin challenges me to a game and I laid a smack-a-down on him and he quit halfway through. That's what it felt like.
Oh, okay.
I loved it.
Because we all know if I was playing, that wouldn't have happened.
Oh, yeah. Which is true. You're more competition than he is.
So, Charlie, what do you think about the series?
So, here's what I thought about the series. I thought, of course, the better team were the Spurs, and it was one of the most lopsided playoffs that I've saw in a while. You know, since wasn't it since the Cavaliers got swept or something like that? When LeBron James was with the Cavaliers, they got tore up in the finals.
You're talking about when he played against the Mavericks?
No, the Spurs swept them.
No, the Spurs swept them then. Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah, it was the most lopsided piece of crap since then. Thank you, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, for doing really well and continuing y'all's legacy, but making that competition look real whack.
Yeah, I thought the series could have been a whole lot of. The Heat could have made more competition of the series. I mean, they didn't show up at all. It seemed like at least one person of the team showed up. Games.
The Spurs smashed them at home. They didn't just beat them; they smashed them.
But like I said, they only had one person show up for the whole 5 games, out the whole 10-man roster, 12-man roster.
Yeah, look. They exploited the fact that the Heat don't have a bench or anybody else dependable that can help LeBron James get points. It was at the point, like I said, where he looked like he was with the Cavaliers again. And he was trying. He could have did better as a leader to get more people involved. On the other side of that, they weren't making shots when they tried to get involved in a game. So I think Popovich certainly outcoached Spoelstra. You know, definitely a better strategy type guy. And what's his name? The bald dude, the shooting all the threes.
Patty Mills.
Patty Mills, unsung. You know, I know Kawhi Leonard got the MVP, but Patty Mills was the unsung hero in that series. I was want to say nobody could stop him. Nobody.
Yeah, that was true. He hit a lot of 3-pointers.
Well, first of all, Mario Chalmers needs to go to LeBron James and say, here's half of my paycheck. You're the best point guard on the team. Because he cannot guard his position.
No, he can't.
He was certainly awful.
Certainly awful.
Awful guarding, awful shooting. He couldn't do nothing right.
It was at the point where, like, I don't know why they're playing him at all. Like, they took him out the starting lineup the last game. What took so long? Because he played like crap the entire playoffs. And by the time they took him out the starting lineup, why'd you even bring him in the game anyway? Why? If you wanted to punish him and to give him like motivation to do better, it was too late. You're in an elimination game, and you decide to finally take him out the starting lineup. Why? Why then? Why does it matter? Just start him.
They're
Not
just,
gonna-
they're
They
just
weren't
trying to
going to
make
beat
it
him
go to
3
game
straight.
6.
They weren't going to beat him 3 straight anyway. So what was the freaking point of taking him out the starting lineup?
Nobody never came back from a 3-1 series that I know of.
Yeah, it was a wrap for them. It was a wrap for them. When they got smashed that 2 games at home, they were done. Even if they would have won in San Antonio, the Heat the Heat would have won in San Antonio. The Spurs would have came and celebrated on their home court. On the Heat's court. Yeah, it was done. Popovich, the master strategist, had Eric Spoelstra's number down to a pack. Let LeBron score and force 4 of the guys to go ahead and beat you.
That is true, but boy, if I was Chris Bosh right now, I'd just retire. After he got dunked on in that game 5. Sorry, bastard. That dunk wouldn't have happened on me. If I was Chris Bosh, I remember of a person in my court got a nice alley-oop pass. He's on the show right now, and somebody took his legs out.
Hey, hey.
Was not me.
That was assault and battery. What happened to me? Okay.
That's what I would have done to Ginobili. He wouldn't have dunked on me.
First of all, I was so glad Ginobili did that because he finally got Ray Allen back from last year when Ray Allen hit him with that 3-piece in the biscuit. Ginobili finally just gave Ray Allen a little shoulder flick, was like, nah, this is my year. I got this.
But like I said, if I was Chris Bosh, that shit wouldn't have happened. No. I would have taken flagrant 2, get ejected out the game. It'll be like that series, the Mavs versus the Lakers, that when the guy pushed that little man down when he was in the midair. You know what I'm talking about, Harry?
Yeah.
What's his name? Barrera?
Mm-hmm.
I would have done that. He would have flew to the 3rd row in the stands.
Yeah, he went kind of fly. That was kind of brutal. I don't know how he got up and continued to play after that.
But that's what I would have done to him during that play right there. No.
Not in my house.
Yeah, that was kind of vicious. But so Charles, let's just go ahead and tell you what Jimmy was talking about. I think, was it Owen?
Yeah, it was Owen.
Yeah.
It was me, you, Owen, and damn, I can't remember the other guy. Steven.
Steven, okay, yeah. Well, God rest Owen's soul. But,
is he dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
But yeah, I forgot who threw me the alley-oop pass, and I remember catching it.
Me and you was on the same team.
Yeah, I remember catching it, and I was up there too. I was getting ready to 2-hand flush down.
Right on Owen.
Last thing I remember, him just saying, "Oh no," and just clipping my legs. And instead of looking at the rim, I just all of a sudden saw the concrete driveway was up. And I was just like, crap. I don't know what to do. I got my hands down in time to protect my neck from getting broke, but he completely just took my legs right from under me. There's nothing I can do mid-flight too.
Dang, so he did like a New York Knick move to you.
Dude, that was the worst thing. If that would have been in the NBA, he would have gotten ejected and would have got fined. He would have got suspended for 20 games afterwards. That's how. When I did a complete 180. Like I don't think you heard the story. I caught the ball and I was looking at the rim. Then he hit me, and the next thing I saw was the concrete. My head went where my feet were, and my feet went where my head was. I did a complete 180. I just got my hands down because I was about to break my neck.
Ooh. Well, did you come in the hole again?
Actually, I did come in the hole again, and this time, instead of taking my legs from underneath me, he pushed me forward. So when I went to dunk it, my hand hit on the back of the rim, and I almost broke my finger off, and it was jammed severely. Like I couldn't straighten out my middle finger for a long time. It was bent back. Yeah, so after that, that's why whenever I dunk on somebody, it's your own fault. Because when I took off, nobody was there. You ran up to get this dunking.
Man, ain't that's crazy.
Yeah. So
So,
let's get back to the game,
so
to the massacre.
how bad is Chris Bosh? What can somebody tell me in the elimination game why all of his shots were 3-point attempts?
He's
I think
retarded.
I think that he's trying to reinvent himself
He's trying
and
to get
try to.
traded.
Well, he wants to become a stretch four. He's so bad wants to become a stretch four. He sees the longevity that Dirk Nowitzki's had in the league, and he kind of I think he wants that because if you look at all your real post players, they're starting to break down. Like Dwight Howard's already having back problems. What's his name? Greg Oden never even had a career, and he was a predominantly post player. And then you look at people who play in the post and also have a jump shot, like LaMarcus Aldridge, Tim Duncan, Kevin Love, which I think the Heat should trade for. They are going to have long careers because they can also take the grounding and getting pounded and playing in the post, and then they can step back and hit a jump shot, so they always don't have to brutally pound you down low. But there is the anomaly to that equation because if you look at Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol, both of them earned their paychecks in the post. But Zach Randolph early in his career was plagued with injuries, and Marc Gasol had a brutal, I think it was a leg injury this year that cost him like 20 or 30 something games. So playing in the post, you're gonna get beat up. You remember Kevin Willis?
Yeah, Hawks.
Yeah. Now you remember how diesel he was?
Yeah.
And where did he predominantly play?
In the hole.
Yeah. Now imagine somebody like that hitting you 82 ball games a year. You're gonna break down. Especially,
Yeah, but look at it this way. If you're a big man, you have to play in the hole. That's where you need to be, right? Because you got other people that can shoot outside. Now, Dirk Nowitzki has a long career, he's still playing. Got a championship when he decided to play in the post, in the paint. That's where he won his championship. That's where he got his ring. He didn't earn his money in the paint, but he got a ring in the paint. So I understand the fact that Chris Bosh wants to have longevity with his career, so he wants to transform his game. Why would you experiment with that in the playoffs?
Yeah, there's no doubt. He definitely picked the wrong time to start experimenting with that in the playoffs. He should have, and especially that he experimented with a 3-point shot in the playoffs. I can respect like a little 10, 15, even a 20-foot jumper, but when you step out to 27 feet and you didn't have that at the start of the season, I don't know what you're thinking.
If you miss 4 in a row, why are you still shooting? And you're not Ray Allen. I can understand Ray Allen doing that. But if you are Chris Bosh, you are a big man. Your game from you being yay high to halfway through this past season was in the paint or sort of like that. Why would you? If you miss 4 threes in a row, why would you continue to shoot threes knowing that you're hurting your team? I don't.
That's what kind of player he is. But all those people that Harry mentioned had that kind of ability before he came into the NBA, like Tim Duncan. He did all that in college. What he did in the NBA so far.
Let me give it up to Tim Duncan for staying consistent through his whole career. Let me give it up to Tim Duncan because Timmy at Wake Forest plays the same way he does now.
Well, see, here's my, I'm a huge Tim Duncan fan. I love the way he approaches and plays the game of basketball. The one thing that I cannot figure out is that he is a post player that when he backs you down, when he faces you, he literally takes the ball and puts it in a defender's face and says, "Here it is. I'm still going to shoot it over you." I'm just like, just get a hand up. Like, it can't be that hard to stop. Like, he literally turns, faces you, and says, "Here's the ball. I can shoot it with either hand, but I'm going to put it right in front of you before I do so."
Yep. And it works still.
18 years, I mean.
He was doing that thing at Wake Forest. It worked. Still working.
I'm like, they don't have tape on that or something. I don't get it.
You know they got tape on that. They got tape on everything they do in the NBA.
You
Just
can't
people
stop
just
the
don't know how to
train.
stop it.
Yeah, you can't stop the train once it's on the track. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tim Duncan did a real great job in the series.
Hmm.
So what's the next move for the Heat? What do they need to get better?
A bench.
Yeah, they do need a bench because there was some real avid fans of the Heat on Facebook that were talking crap most of the series until the last half of the elimination game, and they were like, "Oh, let's get Melo." They have their heart set on Melo. I'm like, y'all don't need another massive score, especially if you want to keep LeBron. You don't want to do that. You need a bench. Get Chris Bosh out of there. If Dwayne Wade needs to retire, as much as I like Dwayne Wade, if he needs to just retire because of health, get him out of there and whatever, get some cap space and get a freaking bench. You can have the big three, the big four. You can have Ray Allen shooting all day long. But if you don't have a bench, when those guys get tired, you have nobody to keep it going. And that's why the Heat lost this series, is because when LeBron James sat down and Dwayne Wade couldn't keep it going because of whatever, his motivation, his legs, whatever, and Chris Bosh is out there looking like a kid lost in the sandbox, and Mario Chalmers is like, I'm collecting a paycheck. Well, they can't let me go right now, so I'm gonna just. And he's sitting there crying in the sandbox because nobody will play with him. You could have had somebody come off the bench.
Yeah, so let me just piggyback on that right there. Piggyback. So to go along with that, I think the point guard in Toronto, not DeMar Rosen, but Kyle Lowry, he's going to become a free agent. I would like to see him go to the Heat, but like you said, you got Chris Bosh at 19, LeBron and Dwayne Wade at 18 million each. So, and Lowry already said he wants a max contract, so that's like 20 plus right there. So they're going to have to convince him to take less money to contend for a championship, which is going to be kind of hard for a 20-something to do.
No,
I would,
if
go ahead.
LeBron James stays there, don't opt out, he making $20 million this coming up year.
Well, if he opts in, he gets the 20 million. But he can also restructure his contract. Go to free agency and just sign back with the Heat long term as a free agent, and
Yeah.
just restructure his contract to take less money, which would be good for him career-wise if he wants to have that great legacy that he always talks about having, because he can definitely go to another team and get 30 million easily. Easily he could get 30 million, but he won't be on a team that's a contender. He'll probably wind up in somewhere like Milwaukee or back in
Cleveland.
Cleveland for 30 million. So, in my opinion, the best thing, if they really want to contend, is to take less money and go ahead and build it up, because you got the three big names out there right now are Kyle Lowry, Kevin Love, and Carmelo Anthony. Now, Kyle Lowry will solve one problem in your point guard, and Kevin Love will solve two problems, and you're being able to throw the ball in the post and have somebody to be able to protect the paint. I personally think that they need to go ahead and get the point guard shored up, because you're asking LeBron James to do one too many things: bring the ball up, assist, shoot it, rebound it, defend it. You need somebody else to take some of the load off of him. And I think what Kyle Lowry brings to the team will help take some of the load off versus what Kevin Love will bring to the team, even though Kevin Love addresses a bigger issue that they're having. That they can go get another player that can predominantly protect the paint but really can't score in the paint, at least, assume the threat, that they can throw the ball in there for a low post threat. So they just, like Charles said, they really need a bench. I don't know who else is out there that they could get on their bench, because I think it was 2 years ago, Charles, I said it when Roy Hibbert becomes a free agent, he would be a good fit for them to go down there. But I don't know what Rory Hibbert was in his Cheerios because it just mutated him into some feeble 5'9" guy who couldn't figure out where the lane was in the playoffs this year. I don't know what was wrong with him. And
He just soft.
yeah, another good name that might be coming available is Tyson Chandler in I think 1 or 2 years from the Knicks. We all know that he protects the paint like a beast.
Yeah, he does.
He'd be nice down there.
LeBron will be gone by then, though. If he has to wait a couple of years, he'll be gone by then.
He'd be gone.
Yeah. I don't think LeBron is going to strike us like a Kobe or Michael Jordan. That, of course, he won't finish out his career at one team because he's already on his second team. But since he's already on his second team, he's really there's a high possibility that since he knows he can't finish out his career at one team, might as well just go to a place to where he has the best chance to get the most championships before he gets too old and he has to come off the bench. So he might start looking for a team like right now that has the makeup that can afford him, that has as close to a bench that you can get right now and that can afford him, and he can still be in the leading role, like he can be the face of the franchise. I just don't know who that is.
Okay. Well, let me throw this out there from what you said. So a team right now that has the bench that needs one more piece to take them over there would be, wait for this, the Houston Rockets. Now, pause. The Houston Rockets have Omar Sheik and Dwight Howard down low. They have, oh my gosh, not Dim Sum, Jeremy Lin, but the other guy. He was a rookie this year. Oh my gosh, at point guard.
So racist.
Didn't Jeremy go to New York?
No. He's still in Houston.
Okay.
And they got James Harden at shooting guard, and their starting small forward is Chandler Parson, who's also a free agent. So you get rid of Parson, and you bring in LeBron.
Now I like how you did that, but the whole debate through the second half of the season was that Kevin Durant's going there.
True. The question is, who would you rather have, Durantula or King James?
Well, if you have Harden still on the team, you have Durantula.
Yeah, it's Durant.
They already have. Yeah. They just have chemistry.
Because they've already been seen practicing and hanging out during the off season. I'm just like, wow.
It's gonna be tough because what do you do if you're LeBron? What do you do? Like, people giving you crap because you can't be another Michael Jordan. You just can't. You can't be a Kobe Bryant because you're already on your second team. That's the whole thing. You stay with one team your whole career and get rings.
If I was LeBron James, when I get back from my vacation with my family, I would go to Pat Riley's office when I get back, and I would say, look, I'm going to go into free agency, and I'm going to sign back with you for $10 million. That means I'm giving you an additional $10 million right off the rip out of my own pocket and say, find me somebody else to bring you another championship.
Now, if he does that, will they use that money to get another big name person, or will they use that money to distribute to get another bench? And who did they give up to get this bench? They still have to give up people along with that $10 million.
You got Battier retiring, so his like $3 million or whatever is also going into the pot. Hopefully you can get rid of Birdman, even though you love his energy.
Yeah,
you can tell he's getting old.
Yeah. He's in his 30s. Yeah.
So that's another $3 million you got right there. So you got about $18 million you can go play with. And like I said, you got Kyle Lowry out there and you got Kevin Love out there. If you can't get one, if you can't get both, you at least try to get one of them to come play with you.
If you dismiss Chalmers, you have another good bit.
Yeah.
I think they got to let go of Haslam right about now too.
Haslam's there for life.
Uh,
Ask him to play 82 games for $2 a game.
just let him. Just let him be on the bench. Just give him a lifetime ticket, lifetime uniform, lifetime space on the bench. It's time for him to step away because, I mean, he got showed up in the finals, man.
I would even go after Omar Sheik because he's not happy in Houston coming off the bench after Dwight. They brought him there to replace Yao Ming, and then all of a sudden Dwight Howard comes in the next year. So, yeah, I would go after Omar Sheik in Houston.
That's a good pick.
There's a lot of options out there for the Heat. They just have to seriously get money from LeBron, Chris, and Dwayne and say, look, if y'all want to win, I'm going to need $10 million each.
Well, here's the whole dilemma. Here's the whole big dilemma. This is going to be a crazy offseason because not only are the Heat going to be trying to keep LeBron, the Knicks are going to be trying to keep Melo, and OKC is going to try to keep Durant. So you got all these moving parts. Somebody's going to get the shaft. Who's going to get the shaft?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and just speak on Melo. So all of a sudden, the Knicks get Phil Jackson to be their, head of operations or basketball operations, right? And he comes out and says that he's not going to coach the team due to his health concerns. If I'm the superstar Carmelo, I'm thinking, wait a minute, the guy who coached arguably one of the greatest players ever to play the game, Michael Jordan, another great Hall of Famer, Kobe Bryant, and then you tell me he doesn't want to coach me? Yeah, I'm out. I'm not staying.
He hires Derek Fisher to be the head coach.
Yeah, and I told Charles when that decision was made, the only reason why Derek Fisher, because if you notice, you only heard names of ex-Bulls players to be in the pool of head coach for the Knicks because he wants somebody who knows his system, who's willing to coach his system his way. He just can't physically do it himself, so he needs somebody else to be the figurehead there. That's what he got in Derek
Fisher.
Fisher.
Offense. He wants the triangle offense back.
Yeah, in which if you ever sit down and let somebody explain the triangle offense to you, it is so simple. What is it? The Spurs run a motion offense, and whereas in the triangle offense, it's basically three people moving the ball amongst themselves until they get an open shot, and then when they collapse, you kick it out to one of the wings to get the open jump shot. It's so simple. I don't understand why more teams don't run it.
I mean, it works. I mean, look, 6 championship with Jordan with that same offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Numbers don't lie. I don't know. I mean, I think everybody wants to have their own trademark coaching style or something. They don't want to be like a Phil Jackson's.
So let me ask you a question. What type of basketball do you like to watch? Do you like to watch when a guy dribbles the ball up court and isolates and tries to break another man down and drives to the rack? Or do you like to watch basketball movement, find the open man, knock down the shot?
There's not a black or white answer to that. So the majority of the game, I would like passing the ball around, just ball movement, rotation.
Well, okay, let me throw something else in there. The other third option that you basically have is the pick and roll offense. So that's your third pick.
Oh man, I think you got to use all of them, all those styles in moderation, because I mean, it just depends. Like, okay, if the game's close, you got your star player going at it, and then it's like real close, and everybody's locked up. Isolation. You got to have the isolation because Michael Jordan, isolation when it really counted, he either got the points or got to the line.
You see, ISO basketball, I do not mind in the last 2 minutes.
Right.
I do not mind ISO basketball. I cannot stand watching pick and roll the entire 48 minutes because that's why I never liked the Jazz or Jerry Sloan's method of coaching. That whole John Stockton, bring the ball up, set the pick. Either you're going to drive it and kick or you're going to have the guy slip and you dump it off. There's basically only 3 things you can do out of the pick and roll. I can't stand watching that. I prefer to watch the ball move around, find the open man, and knock down the open jump shot, or hit a cutter as he's slashing to the rack for a layup or a dunk. I prefer watching that than isolate, breaking the guy down, putting him on Sports Center, and you dunking the basketball. I mean, because think about it. The last person that made isolation basketball fun to watch, Allen Iverson.
Yeah, never got a championship though. That doesn't win championships.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't know how to do it in moderation. I guess you could put him in the same thing where early LeBron James, he never really had. If he had the staff to remotely get a championship, the coach at the time, I want to say Larry Brown, didn't quite have what it took to be a championship-winning coach. So.
Well, Larry Brown ran the Princeton offense, which is you basically throw the ball into the big man and let him facilitate where the ball goes from there, whether he's going to back you down, shoot it, or kick it out, or pass it to somebody slash into the rack, which is a classic traditional way of playing basketball, which makes sense. You go for the easiest shot, which is the one closest to the basket, and then work your way out. So it makes sense in doing it that way, but, the jump shot is basically gone. Like, you can name probably all the pure jump shooters on your hand right now that are in the league.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Ray Allen, that's one.
Yeah.
That's the only one I could think of.
Curry, isn't it?
Yeah,
Stephen Curry is, yeah.
And that other kid, Klay Thompson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Melo, I wouldn't even say Melo because he's turned more streaky.
Melo is what you call a scorer versus a pure shooter. Like, do you remember this guy? He played in Milwaukee, Michael Redd.
No, I don't remember him.
Yeah.
If it wasn't in the 90s, I don't remember because I haven't paid attention to Milwaukee since then.
He was early 2000s. He used to drop like 40 and 50 a night, but Milwaukee was so abysmal, they never got put on TV. And I was just like, yo, I stayed up late and I watched one of his games on NBA TV. And when I talk about a nice, pure jump shooter, it was him. You could give him the ball, and he was like Ray Allen. He doesn't need much space to get it off, and it's going in, just knocking them down. It's just that, when you're a jump shooter and you got bad knees, your career is gone real quick.
Yeah, because you got to jump to have a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how weak is the Eastern Conference going to be, and how long? I wonder that. Like, the West is solid except for the Lakers because Kobe gets paid too much for them to have a bench.
$30 million.
Woo! That's sucking the life out of your team, literally. Woo!
He ain't gonna be there too much longer.
He can't. What is he gonna do? Really? He can't be the scorer that he was. Kobe can't be Kobe. Kobe can't dominate like he used to.
It's basically that's thank you money, Kobe, for all you've done in LA. That's basically all that is. They were hoping to get a good draft pick. It didn't work out. I just hope they don't tank this upcoming basketball season. And hopefully they can get a draft pick. Because people right now are going to go see the Clippers play in LA.
Who knows who's going to own that team by the start of the season? Who knows? Oh, that's a mess.
Here comes a side note. Did you hear what the NFL? No, not the NFL. The U.S. Patent Office did today?
No.
They revoked the patent for the Redskins logo.
What?
Yeah, they said they were no longer accept patents for racist logos, but yet and still, the Cleveland Indian is still a patented logo.
And that lady who owned that was a pure racist.
Oh, you're thinking about the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, she was a...
Okay,
But
She was.
where did the Reds come from with Cincinnati? How did that was that like a derogatory term? Also, I'm thinking.
I don't know.
I gotta research that. Reds.
But all I'm saying is that, I mean, the poor Redskins. I'm like, but the Chicago Blackhawks is okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah. The Florida Seminoles is okay.
no, they're getting backlash on that.
Yeah. Or the Atlanta Braves is okay.
Well, you know why they can't? They're not gonna mess with the Blackhawks because they have a military gunship, Blackhawk. So
Blackhawk.
they're
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna mess
yeah.
with
The
it.
Blackhawk, the helicopter. Yeah,
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 they're not gonna mess with that.
yeah.
Yeah, Florida State, they're getting grief about the guy
Well,
coming about the guy riding the horse and the spearing the field before the game.
I thought they said that no longer a kid couldn't paint himself up to look like an Indian. It has to be an Indian.
No, some tribe still says it's not right, but
Is
they're
it
still
right?
gonna do it.
I heard that they were also trying to take away the tomahawk chop at Florida State.
I
That's the
haven't heard that.
whole thing. That's
Yeah, I
the
was
best thing
like,
about being there, right?
yeah.
I
How are
remember
you
when,
going to stop the student body from doing that?
the whole stand.
Do the
Yeah.
Braves still do it?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, they
So
do
if
it.
you take that away, that takes
dude.
away the joy.
Charles, see, you need to come to a game with me when I go one time. They literally, and Jimmy can tell you, they hit the drum 3 times, doom, 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 and all of a sudden the whole entire stadium will take off and
Hmm.
doing the chop.
That's right. But I remember Deion Sanders saying, if he would have took off in Atlanta, he would never done it there.
Good old Florida State grad.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you got. I want to be honest. You got all these people that have a venue to give their remarks now, like on Change.org, to petition crap that is. Look, on the surface, there is a whole bunch of other stuff in the world that you can worry about other than like a name of a team, especially if it's been around for a long time and no one has died over the name of the team. Okay, and they won't petition us going back to freaking Iraq. What the hell? So screw that. Do the tomahawk chop. Have the little Indian boy, whatever his name is, go across the field, do a blah blah blah, paint his face. If he wants to paint his face, he paid for the paint. Paint his face, if you will. Let him do that. Let somebody cry in the corner. We are in a generation that everybody gets butthurt over the stupidest crap.
Well, I have a catch-22 perspective on it because I can see how the Native Americans can find that being derogatory towards them. And I look at it, well, how would I feel if there was a team called the New York Negroes, but just replace Negroes with something else? I would probably boycott the sport of basketball until they change that name. And me being a black American, if I got a whole bunch of other black Americans to boycott it, I could take a large chunk and viewing process away from it because, like Sam Walton said, the customer is the boss. If the customer stops buying the product, then there is no owner, there is no CEO, there is no field of operations, there is no team, there is no league. It all just shuts down because there is no customer buying the product. So can the Native Americans unite and say we're no longer going to watch the NFL until you change the Redskins name? When you look at the demographic of what they could take away, it really doesn't hurt $1 billion industry. You're not taking that much away. But if you look at it, if I was to say that, hey, all black people, let's not watch the NBA, and all black players, let's not play in the NBA, when you look at what I can take away from the NBA until they change something, it is a huge chunk of the pie, leaving a little small piece down there. So,
Yeah, and I think you're leading into the whole Donald Sterling decision of taking him out of the picture.
and and that's why I said I got to catch 22 on it because it all boils down to, and you and I had the conversation, the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Whereas it's his freedom of speech. It just so happens that he got recorded saying his freedom of speech, and therefore he's being violated. And some people are going to throw out that whole thing that you have to live with the repercussions and consequences of what you say. I say it's bullshit. Some other people say, no, it's true. I say it's BS because I will always point to the First Amendment right. Where does the First Amendment right say the repercussions and consequences of what I say must follow? Because, I know that I can go out there and say whatever I want to, and some people might not like me. I just like, tough cookies. You don't like me, it's a billion people in China who don't know me yet. I'll go make friends. But unfortunately, it can't happen. It doesn't happen that way. So, to me, if I was in Donald Sterling's shoes, I'm probably going to make some people upset, I would fight it until the day I die. I would literally roll in a TV screen and have it sit in my seat that I own and have my face on the court looking at and watching the game. And I would buy a camera and put it in there that would broadcast the game and myself and have it set up virtual reality and everything. Oh, I can't be there, but guess what? We're going to dim the lights in the stadium, having a hologram showing me sitting in my seat. Just to throw the middle finger up at Adam Silver.
Well,
just think about this. You bought a Ford Mustang, and you say a derogatory term, and all of a sudden Ford's like, you know what, Charles Smith, because you said that, you can't drive the car that you own now.
As long as they give me another car. Here's the thing. Here's why I say that. They're giving him. The league was going to let him sell the team for $1 billion. His wife agreed that she would sell it for more, $2 billion. So guess what? You lose your team. You bought it for, $12 million in the 80s. You got $2 billion now. I say a derogatory term. You take my team away from me, I walk away with a big-ass profit. So I can go be butthurt and be rich. I'll be okay.
See, it's not about the money. It's the principle that they're robbing you of.
The principle. It doesn't matter. Look, people are too hung up on the principle of things, okay? When you look at the world is a terrible, dark place that you try mentally to bring light to. Now, you get hung up on principle, you be homeless, okay? You can be homeless off and still have your principles, okay? Or you can have as much Cinnamon Toast Crunch as you want with your $2 billion.
Oh my God! We're about to get into talk about the Civil War here because when they tried to take the land away from the Southerners for having slaves, they said, you know what? We're going to secede from the Union, and we're going to fight for this. It's the principles, Charlie. Granted, that's a bad example because they lost, but they still stood for what they thought was right.
I have to agree with Harry on this, man. It's just the principle of the whole thing.
You have to be selective. Okay, you have to pick your battles. Okay. In the instance of Donald Sterling, I'll take the money. Now, if it was
infringing on the First Amendment, not the second or the third, it's not the one you should know.
Look,
freedom of speech.
Look, they're not trying to mess up his money. Okay, look, he is. How old is he? Almost in his 90s, if not. He had a lot of chances to have freedom of speech. He spoke a lot. Okay. He said a lot, and this freedom of speech is what got him it's not the freedom of speech what got him, okay? It is not that. It is the fact that what he said was going to mess up the money for the NBA. So by them, you have to cut off you have to sever the tie with something that's going to take you under. You have to cut out the cancer before it takes you under. LeBron James is about to rally the players to boycott, which was going to cost the NBA a lot of money. So he had no choice but to sever and cut out that cancer and drop him like a bad habit. It wasn't the fact of what he said.
Can I pause you there? Can I pause you and say how bad of an idea that would have been if LeBron James would have rallied the NBA to protest him?
It would have been, yes. It would have.
Because do you realize how many players are in the D League right now? How many players are overseas? Do you realize that Stephon Marbury is still playing over in China? If they were to call him and say, "Hey, you want back in the NBA?" Do you not think he would have been on the first thing smoking out of China to come back to play in the NBA?
But who would
I
have
mean,
watched the games though? Who would have watched it?
people still would have watched.
Still, yeah, people still would have watched it.
You think people still would have watched those games if Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and I'm not talking about just black guys, Manu Ginobili, Splitter, everybody. You know, LeBron James has some clout, like it or not. He could rally people to not play, and then
There's
you
no
pay
doubt.
those.
I think LeBron James would have easily got 60 to 70% of the league, maybe even 80% to not play. But if he would have gotten that large of a percentage of the players not to play, and they replaced them with the D-leaguers and overseas players, I would still go to the games because, one, the tickets better not cost me $60 anymore to get in. The ticket better cost me $20, and I better be on the lower level. You see what I'm saying?
But what if it got to the point to where so many endorsements got dropped, so many sponsors of the NBA got dropped to where it was costing them that much money, and they didn't broadcast games?
Hey, let me tell you something right now. If Spalding would have dropped the official ball of the NBA, I'm pretty sure that Wilson, Russell, Champs, Under Armour, Nike, all would have jumped on the chance. Yeah, sure, you can use our ball. Here you go. The NBA is $1 billion cash machine. It's going to be what you're talking about. It's going to be very, very, very interesting because the NFL is doing something very interesting right now, and where they're going to ban the N-word from being said in NFL games. 15-yard penalty if they hear somebody say the N-word. I can see right now the first preseason game. It's going to be kickoff and then first and goal from the 5-yard line. Due to the N-word being said in rampant succession.
Yeah.
You'd be seeing that flag fly a lot.
Yeah, they're not going to have enough flags in the NFL.
They just had to throw one flag and throw the hat. That's the second flag.
Yeah, so all the hats and all the flags, all the socks, all the T-shirts, all that's going to be thrown. I wouldn't want to referee a game in October in Green Bay.
But wouldn't that violate your freedom of speech too?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. You know what? If I was an NFL player, Roger Goodell, I would come out there and I would tell Pam Oliver, Roger, go ahead and fine me for $15,000 because nigga, this sucks. And just walk off. And just walk off. You remember that when Shaq cursed on TV?
Oh, yeah.
The referees fucking suck. And
Yep.
Jim Gray was like, Shaq, we're on live TV. I don't care.
give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I remember that. But my point is, as much weight as we put in the First Amendment, and everybody wants to use the First Amendment when it's convenient for them, don't you think to a certain extent, especially with all the social media and the accountability with you being representing like your job and whatnot, don't you think that it's a false sense of hope now for us to put so much weight into it?
The Supreme Court is now looking into a case where a man was incarcerated because he made threats to his ex-wife on Facebook saying that he was going to break into her house and leave her a bloody mess. And he got arrested for threatening her on Facebook. And as you know, the internet is free domain. So it's supposedly you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want on the internet. The way they get you is when it comes down to your personal computer. If you were to download like child pornography or download how to make a pressure cooker bomb, that's what they can get you for for conspiracy. But he put something out on the internet. It wasn't on his physical computer. It was out on the internet, and they went and arrested him. And the Supreme Court is looking into it. It's like, hey, that's his freedom of speech. But the prosecutor is trying to say that it was a what is that thing called? Premeditated assault or something. So it's something that It doesn't sound like I'm really paying that close attention to it. I just heard it yesterday, and I would like to know the outcome of it because this could be huge. If the Supreme Court says that, yeah, what you do on the internet can now be accountable for criminal activity, then that's going to be very scary because after the Boston Marathon bombing, I will admit that I Googled pressure cookers, and I wanted to know how did you rig a pressure cooker to explode. And now you're trying to tell me that I could possibly be labeled as a terrorist because I Googled pressure cooker explode?
Well, here's the whole thing about that. It doesn't even have to get to the Supreme Court. The NSA looks through search results and see
don't
who
get me started on that.
Look, it's all. I know we're getting off subject, but it's all a false sense of hope. You got the guy. Well, Michael Sams got drafted, gay guy, and I call him gay because he's gay, and someone on Twitter, I forget who their name was.
Oh yeah, the football player. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I want to know how they distinguished the fact of what he was talking about. He said something to the sort of like, that's disgusting or something. How did he know he was talking about that? He didn't say, oh, this Michael Sam draft pick is disgusting because he's gay. I can see them doing that, but they just put 1 and 2 together, and then they just assumed he was talking about that. Then he has to be forced to apologize so he doesn't get in major trouble.
Yeah, and I put myself in his shoes, and I probably would have been cut from the team because I was like, no, I'm not apologizing. That's how I feel. I'm sorry that he feels that way, but I will not apologize. That was what I thought. I typed it out. I had a cognitive process, and I hit send. So what? You don't like my words. If you don't like it, unfollow. It's that simple. It's like you chose to read it.
That is true. I mean, you don't have to choose to read anything that comes to your phone or comes on your computer.
Yeah, it's like everybody's
that irked me when he was forced. I think he was fined as well.
He was, yeah.
And I was just like, yo, I'll pay your fine, but there's no way you're going to tell me what I can and can't say because, like you said, if we're going to go back and forth on this, I will always be on the person's side of, yeah, say what you want to say. And I assume here that you will always be on the person's side that, hey, say what you want to say, but be careful of what you say because it could cost you. And you and I know somebody who lost a job because she said what she wanted to say.
Exactly. Like here's the false sense. Here, I'm not saying that the First Amendment is a false sense of hope that it doesn't exist, but you are expendable by what you say. Your mouth, like the Bible says, bridle your tongue. Based off of that, you should not use the First Amendment as a tool to say whatever the hell you want to say.
And you know what's a very interesting fact is because I was hanging out with a coworker outside of work, and he asked me a question about another guy, and I described him with a gay slur. And when I said it, I felt horrible about it, and I grabbed him. I was like, I'm sorry. Did I just offend you? He said, oh no, I was just asking to see if you knew if he was or if he wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay. And I apologize immediately. So I do watch my tongue when I speak. I don't mean to offend people with the words that I choose to say. It's just that I just had that one slip of a tongue at a time, and he was totally okay with it. Now, you can take what I said and you can flip it and say that it could have been somebody else, that if I would have said what I said to that person to describe that demographic, they could have went up in arms, and it would have been interesting because if they would have taken me to HR for it, I was like, that was after work. I wasn't on the clock. If he had a problem with what I said after that, he should have left the bar. I was drinking. I was partying then, Rick James, but
yeah,
it's all.
Yeah, I mean, you still like. It doesn't matter. Like, you have the freedom to speak your mind, and I think that I really want to say that is for the fact of you getting together as a people, as an assembly or whatever, and voicing your opinion to the greater good. But when you offend someone, even if you don't know that you offended someone, if you offended someone, all chips are off the table, and that First Amendment right goes way out the window because you have offended someone, and then they're going to use that against you, and then your right has been nullified and taken away from you because you have verbally offended another person, which is like verbal assault. So they say that verbal variation of what assault would be, you have to now either say I'm sorry or face the consequences of your actions, just
Okay,
like slapping them in the face.
Yeah, that whole verbal assault thing, that's the wussification of America right there.
I agree.
Dude, first, I'm surprised that you even said that, Charles.
I have to say that because that's the reality of society now. That's how it is.
I mean,
I don't agree with it, but that's how it is.
I read a very, very tragic story about a teenage girl that hung herself in her closet because these other two girls trolled her on Facebook and said offensive things about her, so she killed herself over it. I was like, okay, what? What? I mean, I wore Coke bottle glasses. I had a size 13 shoe, and
14.
I was extremely short until what, my junior year, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you was always taller than me. I was about 5'10", 5'11", all through high school.
No. As a freshman, I was 5'3". That's a fact. I was short. I didn't grow until my junior year. Maybe we didn't get really close until junior year in high school. But I was always short. So I looked like a freaking clown, and I got picked on every day. There was, I don't even want to say it, but a suicidal thought never came into my mind. Never came into my mind. I remember I was getting punked for my lunch money every day in gym. I had gym first class in the morning, and they were taking my lunch money every day. And you know what? When they took my lunch money one time, I was like, you know what? Screw it. There's three of them, one of me, but damn it, I'm hungry. I'm going to punch this dude in the chest. I punched the dude square in the chest. And I'm just thinking, with this one punch here, either I'm going to get beat up severely or I'm going to knock this dude out and I just need to keep hitting him. So I punched the dude dead in his chest, and all of a sudden, all you heard was him go, he started wheezing for air. So I did what anybody was supposed to do. I hit him again, I grabbed my lunch money, and I ran out the gym. And you know what? The next day, I went to that class. They did not even try me. They said, hey, don't mess with Harry, man. He got that one punch. He'll knock the wind out of you. And the kids stopped doing it. These kids are so much wusses. I can't even say the word I want to say, but they're that. That they're letting words offend them. And they're like, you know what? Instead of taking it out on them, I'm going to go tell an adult, and adult's going to tell me I have to be better about myself, and here's this participation ribbon, and let's sing a song about it. No. You know how people respond? Physical action. If you get beat, you get beat, but you live.
To fight another day.
Stand up for yourself.
Look, I used to wear thick. I still have Coke bottle glasses that I don't wear. I just wear contacts. Now, I was really skinny. My glasses were this thick. Seriously, this thick. And
I think Harry had bigger ones than that.
Thank you. Yeah, my glasses look like Stephen Q. Urkel frames.
Hey,
you show about this thick. His was about that thick.
Yeah.
No. You. Yeah, these are like 2 fingers. Okay, anyway.
I can see into the future.
Look, I used to take my glasses off and burn ants. Beat that.
Harry could have cooked eggs on the concrete.
Oh, can you? What? All right. But
if I go get my glasses, I can tell you what's going to happen in the next Olympics.
You are the clairvoyant of all of us. But I mean, I got picked on a couple of times, and I didn't go cry in the corner. I didn't shut down and want to off myself. You find alliances with people. I didn't resort to violence all the time. A few times you don't have any choice, but you have to fight. But I'm not going to. It's sad that the girl hung herself. That it is sad, but it is telling of our society versus how it was. There was a couple of kids in high school I remember hanging themselves, but it wasn't because of bullying. Maybe because they came out the closet, and you know back in that time, you come out the closet, you gonna get in the closet, right? So
Yeah.
so that might have been the root of it. Nobody really figured it out what it was, but I mean, kids getting bullied on Facebook, Twitter. You have Dateline NBC doing like hour and a half long stories on this stuff, and kids are resorting to self-inflicting like violence and all this because of words that were said. They didn't get punched in the face. They didn't get wedgies. They didn't get any of that. They didn't get followed home. They didn't get beat up on the bus. They got
Yeah.
blasted
They
on
logged
Facebook.
onto a computer and they read it. I'm just like, yo,
It's terrible. What are you gonna
I,
do in society?
I really wish
Real
somebody
world.
would say some terrible shit about me on Facebook or Twitter. I'm like, okay,
I just laugh about it.
friend. Yeah, I mean, you chose to read it. I mean, it's like, okay, like, well, what's the guy? Don Imus. You know, if you don't like what he's saying on the radio, guess what? Turn the dial.
To be honest, they did have nappy heads. If they were hoes, I don't know, but they did have nappy heads. I just want to say that they had straighten and comb
The
perm.
kitchen was kind of messed up.
The kitchen was busted. I'm just saying they had buckshots all over back there. I mean, look, if you speak the truth, if somebody look, if somebody on the street, like an older white man, walks down the street and says, "Hey Charles, you know what? You were one black fella," I could get offended by that, and then maybe I would have 15 years ago. But guess what? Guess what? You know what? I am dark skinned. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. And these kids today, you get called something like that, they might go lock themselves in the hot car in the summer and just die. I mean, they might just turn on their mom's car in the garage and just carbon monoxide poisoning. I mean, you got to learn, you got to teach your kids how to either verbally or physically defend themselves. And they don't have the capacity to do that. So they resort into self-inflicting violence, which is stupid. And it goes over to sports. And they try to, instead of people parenting, they want to, as you say, the wussification of the youth. They want to protect their feelings. Everybody gets a ribbon, and nobody loses. We don't keep score in this game. It's all fun. But when you get out in the real world and you get fired for the first time because you didn't know how to take that criticism, and you just didn't show up to work, or you just crying at your desk, and people are like, "What are you crying at your desk for?" Like, what are you gonna do? You don't get a ribbon for being late to work, or being reprimanded because you lost the company money. What are you gonna do?
But that's just how the difference of the society is when we was growing up into today. I mean, we were a more tougher crowd than today.
It's kind of sad to see because if you look back at my parents, their generations, and what they had to go through with the civil rights movement, and my grandparents, what they had to go through, basically being first generation, or even I shouldn't say first generation, second generation freeborn Americans. It's kind of like, wow, they went through all that, and all of a sudden it's a little bit of my generation and definitely a whole lot of the generation after us, where the kids are just wussified and just it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing to see. You speak the truth. It's very, very disturbing these days that something that you read makes you completely so upset that you decide that you have to kill yourself because you read something just that offensive. I live by that wish creed. I wish that somebody would write something so offensive about me because one, I'll probably never even know about it, and two, wouldn't bother me a bit. You yourself just made me try harder to be a better person.
You
Because
know, you
terrible.
remember the dozens.
Oh, I love the dozens.
You know what the dozens did? As cruel as it might seem, like when you're going through it, guess what it made you? It made you witty. It made you be able to give a rebuttal to a diss. It made you like stand up. It gave you tough skin because people are cruel and they will make fun of you at any cost. And that helped you. That trained you to be emotionally strong in those situations, so you don't shut down and cry. And they got it. I mean, at the locker rooms, I'm sure you were in the locker rooms. It was harsh in the locker rooms.
Oh my goodness, that's my first thought when Michael Sams got drafted was, do you know how many gay slurs we threw around in the locker room? Do you know what we say about women in the locker room? Do you know what we say what we're going to do after a game in the locker room?
Yeah.
I'm just like, even on the practice field, I can't tell you how many times a gay slur was even said by the coach
That's
on
true.
Exactly.
the practice field. I mean,
Little sissy.
it doesn't even have to be like a gay slur. Like coach, like you're running like a girl, you're playing like a pansy. You know,
That is true. All
But
those
what if
things
but,
are
but,
true.
but what if they are running like a girl? And you call them out, and you're accurate, and then they get offended, and then you could lose your job.
I put it to you like this, right? I it's kind of like it was a serious injury. My shoulder,
No.
like no, I was pitching a game and I was on 75 pitches for my pitch count, and I told the coach that my shoulder was starting to hurt and that I don't want to go out for the next inning. And he's like, "Does your pussy hurt too?" I was like, "Well, coach, I don't have one of those. Then get out there and give me one more inning." And I went out there and I basically throw my shoulder out, and I was so afraid to tell him that my shoulder was out that I rubbed Ben Gay on my shoulder so I could continue to play. And I wind up having my shoulder dislocate because I couldn't feel it
Mm.
coming out. And the coach looked at me and was like, "Yeah, Harry, go sit on the bench." I'm like, "Why?" "Well, your shoulder's hanging 3 inches below the shoulder blade." I think your shoulder's out. And I was sidelined for 2 weeks because I didn't want the coach to think that I was being a pansy. And to me, I mean, granted, when my shoulder healed, it got stronger and I was able to throw for longer, harder, excuse me, periods of time. So it eventually made me a stronger person. And I learned a valuable lesson that you can play hurt, you can't play injured.
Mm.
Nowadays, if you look at a kid and say, "Hey, does your pussy hurt?" He's going to go cry and tell his parents. The parents are going to start a petition. The coach is going to get fired, and then somebody else who wants to sing "Kumbaya" is going to coach the team, and they're going to suck.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm. Good point.
Because all of us grew up in that area that we got taught like that way. We didn't turn out bad. I mean, it helped us in the future.
Some of us turned out bad. Some of us turned out bad. Marvin Hardin. He wants to purge everybody.
Well, look at that. I mean, think about that. Just think we all of a sudden just purged all of the wussification of America. Just got rid of them. Say, bam.
No, half the world be gone, or more than that. I mean, it's just
This the newer generation, not the old generation.
it's just how it is. I mean, and you can't say that they're going through less of a hard time. I mean, because people are still going to fight for war in war, um, and I mean, we have different struggles, of course, now. But man, I don't know why it started, where it started, or if it's going to like
It
decrease.
started on field day for the first school to pass out a participation ribbon to the kid who
For
finished
everybody.
fourth. Yes.
You get first, second, and third. You don't get fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, ninth, 10th. It's only first, second, and third.
Oh,
And
y'all
that's
talking about those green participation ribbons?
yes.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw one of those. I saw one of those, and I used that as motivation not to get that.
I'm waiting for the day when my kid brings one of those home so I can start the first fire.
Let me see that, son.
Yeah.
We ain't hanging that up.
It can be the middle of July. I'm like, oh, participation ribbon? How'd I get the wood? I got some Kindle. Light this sucker up.
I remember I was in a real sucky class. I think it was 4th grade, and we got the green ribbon like overall. I didn't take that home, right? Why would I take that home? It wasn't my fault, but guess what? They still gave it to me, and I wasn't gonna take it home because the year before I got me a red ribbon. It wasn't a blue ribbon, because I was kids suck at freaking tug of war. But guess what? I was not bringing home that green ribbon. I was not going to do it. My dad was not going to look at me like, this boy ain't going to be shit. I wasn't going to do it. And now they be like, I got a green ribbon. Like, what are you doing with that? Like, take that, strip it down, and freaking go wrap a gift with it. That's what you go do with that. Freaking ridiculous. I don't know. But hiccups. So I mean, sports got soft. We argue every year, and it gets worse, that football's getting softer and softer. Basketball's getting softer and softer. Baseball, they cut the steroids out, and I don't want to watch anymore. Look, if you want to take steroids and like have complications later in life, that's your decision. I don't give a damn. It's entertainment. You're here to entertain me, so entertain me. I'm just saying.
You can take all the steroids you want. You still have to have the hand-eye coordination to swing a bat and hit a ball.
Exactly. There you go.
Yes, that is true.
I mean, I can go inject some steroids in my butt right now, and I promise you I can't get out there and hit a 90-mile-per-hour baseball. And I played the game for like 16, 18 years.
You and me both couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't do it.
Where's the bitch? It's past you by now.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is roar and raise.
Yeah. I can break a couple bats easy, but yeah, there's no way.
Especially hitting 90 miles an hour pitch and hit it 450 something feet. That ain't gonna happen.
Nah. Man, it's just the way sports is, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. They got these flopping, like, where'd the flopping come from? Like, man.
I think the Spurs started that.
Oh, hey.
I'm not gonna argue that. Didn't Tony Parker start that?
No.
Tony Parker didn't start that.
The first person to flop was Paul Pierce when he got crossed up.
Man, F that. Look, it was Reggie Miller, okay?
Yep.
I remember, what was that? Reggie got headbutted by John Starks, I think it was, and he was like, oh! That was the first flop. There you go. History lesson for you. In the playoffs. Thank you, Reggie Miller. Flopping.
Well, y'all guys, y'all rather wrapped up the show?
Yeah, I'm getting kind of sleepy.
All right.
All right, go ahead, EQ. Start it.
All right. I am the pinnacle, the one and only, the one that you want to watch. Your baby mama's favorite blogger, EQ, a.k.a. The Mind of Cube, a.k.a. Bobby Spolsky, a.k.a. The Man, a.k.a. That Dude, a.k.a. Sir Lucius Leftfoot, a.k.a. Mr. Smooth Criminal, a.k.a. If you don't know by now, check the other a.k.a. a.k.a. Mr. I Am Not You, a.k.a. Harry. Check me out.
I'm at your your actual name was your last AKA. That's impressive, sir.
So, what's your next show on the summer blockbuster review? The 27th? No, the 29th.
Yes, June 29th. We are boycotting Think Like a Man 2, and we will be back on June the 29th for Transformers: Age of Extinction on June the 29th at 7 p.m. sharp. Please check us out.
All right, Charlie.
My name is Charlie Maverick. You can find me everywhere by searching for the Mavcast, and the Mavcast returns Saturday morning at 10:30. Oh baby! So follow the blog at themavcast.blogspot.com. Got the community blog too. Living Room Productions at livingroomproductions.blogspot.com, and everywhere that Funyuns are sold, I am there.
When we putting on when we gonna put on Shooting the Ish again?
Oh man, give me a couple of weeks on that.
All right. All right, y'all know me as the host, Jimbo Banks. You can find me on Google Plus, Jimmy Banks. Find me on Facebook, Jimmy Banks. Instagram, Jimbo 2006. And Instagram, Jimbo, I think.
You don't know.
No. Anything else y'all guys want to say before we end the show?
I got 2 boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch in there that's about to get savaged over the next 2 days.
And Marvin ain't got none?
Buy one, get one free at
There's no way you can
Publix.
eat 2 entire boxes in 2 days.
Say what?
Are you eating cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Hey, look, don't knock my Technique.
So you're gonna get like that big bowl from Fridays.
The
I
mixing
hope you
bowl.
got milk.
I got a gallon. Look, I might need to get more milk because I have cereal with my milk. So, yeah, I'm going in ham, man. You know, I'm not the only one here, so you know, everyone loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I have help. I'm just saying.
So, wait a minute, you let April eat the Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Look, she likes it more than I do. I'm just saying.
See, you can't do it. That'd be problems.
That's why I have 2 boxes.
That'd be
me.
problems.
No. You gotta have 4 boxes of you with Harry because Harry gonna eat the 2 boxes himself.
That's what when you come in through the door, I'm gonna let you know. Look, you privy to use anything in the house, just don't eat my Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
You can eat the Cheerios, Frosty Flakes. Don't touch the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Hell, you can eat the filet mignon I got in the fridge. You touch the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, problems.
You got filet mignon?
That keeps food.
How much time I got to go and get that up?
Right. You can ask Jimmy and Marvin whenever they used to come through. I used to stay eating.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, remember that time I fried that chicken and I said, hey, if y'all want some chicken, it's right there, but it's hot. And Marvin went and grabbed it right out the...
Did he grab it out the pot?
Jimmy, in my life.
No, he grabbed it right out the damn pot, man.
Without any tongs or anything?
Just grab it right out the pot. Just reach your hand into the pot, put right on the plate.
In the grease.
Yes.
What is he, Caesar? Is he Caesar? No, never mind. I ain't going there.
Oh my God. And Marvin's like, Jimmy, you're not going to eat that? It's like, Harry said it was hot. I'm going to let it cool off.
I like fresh out of the grease chicken, but putting my hand in the chicken.
I don't know what I did. I had walked away for a little while, and I come back, and this dude had a piece of chicken sitting on the couch. I was just like, well, damn, let me take it out the grease. I was letting, fry a little bit hard, get that extra crisp on it. He just, couldn't wait.
He went over there to grab it out the pan, and Harry's like, that's hot, right? I don't care.
To each his own.
All right, guys. This is Jimbo Knows. We'll be back soon with another episode. I don't know about what yet, but stay in touch.